All right, today we're going to look at the Husqvarna 350i electric chainsaw. I just ordered this thing. I'm pretty excited to open it, to check it out, and to put the thing to use. I plan on testing this against some other saws to see how it does, and just using it in general to see how it is. I've seen a couple of reviews, but I haven't seen anything really comprehensive or enough to give me a feel for how this saw is going to be. So I'm pretty curious as to how it's going to be. I have not been able to find specs on this thing, which is, I mean, I guess the proof's in the pudding, but I don't know how much power this saw has, so I don't have a good bar, good numbers anyway, to compare it to other electric saws. I will be testing it against the Greenworks 82 CS34, which is about 4.5 horsepower. So let's take a look at this. I've heard a lot of good reviews about this. One of the things that looks really good is compared to other saws in its class, I guess we'll say, this saw doesn't weigh much. I think it's like 13.5 pounds or something, fully outfitted, which is quite a bit less than some of the other saws. Trying not to break this thing here. Oh, here we go. Trying to keep the box in good shape. Couple little tabs here so we can get this thing apart. See what it looks like on the inside. Now, I know this comes with the X-Cut, and I don't know how that compares with regular chains, so there's a charger. We'll probably start out just using that X-Cut and see how it does, and maybe I'll try a few different saws on it, chains on it, to see how the cutting times and effort compares. Battery, BLI 30. And I want to say these are 40 volts, 36 volts, 7.5 amp hours. So this packs about 270 watts or watt hours into the battery. And instructions. No, just kidding. We'll look at that. And the saw is fully assembled. So, take a look. It definitely is lightweight feeling. And I guess I have heard, so that's how that goes. It has a toolless tensioning system, and it's got 3 bucking spikes on it. They look rugged enough. I guess we'll have to get some bar oil, put a charge on this battery, and then see how it goes. Doo-doo-doo. Battery goes in this way. 1 bar on the battery. So, well, that is light. All right. Well, we'll get a charge on this thing, and then we'll get to cutting some wood. I like to, you know what I'm going to do before I do that? I'm going to measure the usable bar, because I know it's advertised at 18 inches. But there's a pretty big range from one saw to another in terms of what they say the bar is and how much actual usable bar there is when it's mounted on the saw. So I got 17 and a quarter inches. Not bad. That thing's chewing the plastic guard right up. Sharp. I know I said I was all done. I'm going to mention one other thing. So I was looking in the owner's manual, and the battery charger charges at a rate of 1.6 amps. So it's a 7.5 amp hour battery. So with 1 bar out of 4 bars, I think I'm probably looking at like probably 4 hours or so before the thing's fully charged, 3 or 4 hours. So from completely dead, it's almost 5 hours to charge. So that's a little disappointing. But I guess I don't know if Husqvarna offers a faster charger, but certainly you'd want a few batteries and a few chargers if that's the only charge capacity that they offer. I have read in some of the reviews that the saw does keep even power right to the end, which is good, and the reviews say that they get a lot of cuts relative to, you know, I guess the saw is efficient. So again, we're going to put all that to the test, but just another thing I wanted to mention, because I'm a little disappointed with the charger power. I know with the Greenworks there's a 4 and an 8 amp hour charger available, and that's on an 82 volt battery, so I can put 400 watt hours into a battery in, you know, less than an hour.
Yep, so we're about 4 hours from when I plugged it in, and it's still charging. Almost there. Alright, we're going to do a few cuts with this thing today. We've already done the unboxing video. Now we're going to try put the thing into use. We're actually going to try it out. Pull back, everything's set. So I'm going to do a few cuts. There's a regular mode, and then there's a turbo mode. So we'll do a couple of cuts in the regular mode and then the turbo mode and see how it does. This is regular mode. Now turbo. I'll do one up cut in the regular. So I've been making some cuts with this. I used the Greenworks and the Echo DCS 5000. I don't know what it is. This bar seems a little bit, I'm gonna say flimsier. I think the chain is the same. It's a 3/8 pitch and a 50 gauge chain, but it just seems a little, no, the bar seems like it's a little flexy. But just an observation. It's a nice saw. It's lightweight. It cuts well for the weight. I don't know. It's okay. I've tried a lot of battery saws. It's good for the class that it's in, and for, you know, just over 14 pounds, you get pretty good amount of cutting with it. But it certainly isn't like the XP 562 if you were gonna cut with that thing, and it weighs, I think, a similar weight. But it's good for around the house and yard. All right, so we tried this thing out. It's a nice little saw. It's lightweight. The battery is very efficient. I think, especially if you're not using it in the turbo mode, I think you get a fair amount of cuts with the amount of power that you have. The total wattage, I think it's 7.5 amps on a 40 volt system, so at about 300 watts, which is that's a pretty beefy battery. And I think, everything I've heard, I didn't run the battery out, but I probably made like a dozen cuts or so on a 12-inch log, and I still got 3/4 of a battery left, which is pretty good. Oh, I got 4/4 of a battery now. Oh, 3/4. But the bar is a little wiggly. The biggest disappointment is that it takes can't remember if it was 5 or 7 hours to recharge the battery. So it's kind of, a lot of these other ones, you can get the battery done in between a half an hour and an hour. So, if you have 2 or 3 batteries, basically you'll never run out of juice if you got a day of cutting ahead of you. That's something probably Husky needs to work on if they're going to run these to people that use the saw more often. But it's kind of a homeowner class saw for sure. So I think they're probably just looking at that market. But it's a nice little saw. The bar felt a little flimsy. I don't know, just compared to the other ones, it seemed like there was a little bit more movement out at the end of the bar. But it cut nice, made good use of the power that it has. Definitely not up into the 20-inch bar. This is the 18, but some of the heavy-duty 18s or the 20-inch bar saws, this isn't quite there, but it's good for what it is, and it's pretty reasonable. I think it's $450 gets you the battery, the charger, and the saw, so that's not bad for that whole setup. So that's what we got on it. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. If you got any more questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them. Put them in the comments, and thank you.